All right, let's get into it. I've been on a lot of the chat groups and everything I've been looking at. There's been a lot of talk about Deshaun Watson. What's going on with him? Why is he not playing? The Browns made a mistake. He make too much money. He hasn't produced like he's supposed to for what he's gotten. Just a lot of stuff. So I just wanted to go and dig in. This is not about what he's done in the past. This is about strictly this year. This is not about any allegations or accusations or feelings you may have on him based on that. I already covered that. That's on my page, EP Greatness on YouTube, and also in the group on Facebook, EP Greatness. You can look it up. You'll see what I found when I dug into that and how I feel about everything. And I am one of those people who can separate the artist from the art, the athlete from the game. I still watch Kevin Spacey movies. I still watch the Cosby Show when it come on. I have no relationship or anything with those people. So whether what they did was bad or good, I separate myself from that because that's not how they was introduced to me. And I am just one of those people who can do that. I don't have to like you in person to appreciate your work. So that being said, let's go ahead and move forward and talk about what everybody is kind of wondering. And that is what everybody is kind of wondering and what everybody is kind of jumping on about Deshaun in particular and the Browns right now as we move forward. And the thing is, what's the elementary on Watson? What is up with Watson? Okay. So from what I understand, Watson is hurt. Now, I understand, and this is what I don't want Cleveland to do is ruin another quarterback because what we do as fans, because we're so starving for a winner, and we don't understand what a job it is to be an athlete. We just look at the money because considering the average income in Cleveland is nowhere near what an NFL player makes. Like in LA, an LA football player making a couple $1,000,000 a year is not such a big deal to that fan base because a lot of them make a couple $1,000,000 a year. So in Cleveland, that's a little different. It hits a little different here. So with Watson coming in here and getting 130 million off the top, that rubs a lot of Clevelanders the wrong way. Nobody in Cleveland deserves that kind of money, and that's how most Cleveland people feel. So that right there, and it's guaranteed. And it's guaranteed. So in Cleveland mind, the average Cleveland person's mindset is if your money is guaranteed, that means you don't have to work for it. That's not what it means, but it is guaranteed. So that's how people see it. He doesn't have to work for this money. Um, okay. So with that being said, let's move past that. If that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel. But let's look at I've heard Watson has not played great. He's not done this. He's not done that. Okay, so let's actually take a look and see what has Watson done. If we're going to take a look at Watson and see in the 3 weeks of this year, because we'll count this year, we'll move from this year. Only time I'm going to refer back to 2020 is when I'm talking about the Browns as an organization. But Watson of this year, 2023, this was his first 3 weeks. All right. Week 1, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. We won that game. Week 2, 254 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. We lost that game because he also had 2 fumbles. He also had a rushing TD. So actually, take away the turnovers, and he has a pretty good game. Week 3, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, like I said, 3 games played, 2 wins, 1 loss. To me, that's what he's paid to do: win us games. Every week he's getting better. If you're looking at yards as a barometer, if you're looking at touchdowns as a barometer, if whatever it is you're looking for, every week he's increased. He even cut down. The last week we seen him, healthy. He cut down on the turnovers, and that is mainly because that was before the injury, right? So before the injury, when Deshaun first came back and was playing in the league, he was starting to get better. But people saying, well, no, that's not what we paid for because those numbers to me look average. That's not what the top 10 quarterbacks do. That's not $200+ million. All right. So let's go ahead and let's compare him for the first 3 weeks with the top 10 $200 million quarterbacks. So any quarterback on this list is considered a top 10 quarterback and is making 200 million plus. Okay. So, those are your two and 230, 240, 225. If as long as you make over $200 million and you're considered by the ranks of the NFL and the people, most people, that you're a top 10 quarterback, I'm going to compare you to Deshaun right now, first 3 weeks. So who we got up first? We're going to stay right home in the AFC North. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. Week 1, Lamar Jackson, 169 yards, 1 touchdown. Week 2, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. Week 3, 202 yards. That's it. That's Lamar Jackson, considered by many to be one of the 3 to 5 best quarterbacks in the game today. That's how he started off. Week 1, week 2, week 3. Look over here at Deshaun, 154, 254, 289. Pretty similar, if not better, for Deshaun in those first 3 weeks. All right, before his injury. Joe Burrow, another $200+ million quarterback. Actually, he's like him and Lamar are in the top 2 or 3 because they were the last ones to get paid. Joe Burrow, week 1, 82 yards. Week 2, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Week 3, 259 yards. All right. Now, I did put up how many games Deshaun Watson won and lost over here for us, simply because as Browns fans, I wanted us to remember that when he left, he was still a winning quarterback, even dating back to when he started. But he's a winning quarterback this season, 2 wins, 1 loss out of 3 games. Every game he's getting better. Lamar Jackson, up and down with the games, but we know Baltimore is continuing to win. I do believe in this span they were 2-1 as well. And Joe Burrow, we know the Bengals started off to a very poor and slow start like they always do, where they started off, I think, 1-2. Okay, well, let's bring up some of these other top quarterbacks in the game, see how he competed. So we're going to look at 2 quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. All right. Justin Herbert, outstanding the first 3 weeks. 229 for yards, 1 touchdown. Week 2 was 305 and 2 touchdowns. Week 3 was 405 and 3 touchdowns. Only problem with Justin Herbert is I believe at this time they were 1-2 or maybe 0-3. He can't close out the game and win a game, right? But phenomenal numbers for a quarterback, deservingly. Jalen Hurts, almost a complete opposite. 170 yards as a touchdown, 193. He didn't even crack 200 yards until week 3, where he went for 277, 1 touchdown, but he had 2 interceptions, right? So as we looking, one trend that we have noticed with every one of these quarterbacks I pulled up so far is week 1 has been was rough for everybody. Everybody just getting back. It's like Monday morning at the job. Everybody just getting back to work. Everybody started off a little slow. Even Justin Herbert up here, who was at 229 yards, which I don't think anybody else even touched in the first week, except for like Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff, because they've been off to some great starts. But nobody considers them top 10 QBs, so you won't see them on the list. But let's go to the next. We got Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Arguably rounds out the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, however you look at it. When you get to Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, who else did I show you? Jalen Hurts. Unless you throw 2 in there, those quarterbacks are generally going to be considered your top 5 from almost everybody you ask, except if you ask a fan base like Miami, who would probably throw 2 in there or something like that. But he don't make 200 mil yet, so he wouldn't make this list. Anyway, back to Patrick. First game, 226, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Second game, 305, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Week 3, 272, 3 touchdowns. Pretty damn good, but that's Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is who I think the Browns think we should have. And if we drafted better, or if we drafted at that position better, we would have Patrick Mahomes, but we didn't. All right. And he has Andy Reid on the side. We got Stefanski. I am a fan of Stefanski. I like what he's doing. But back onto the point. Josh Allen, 236, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, week 1. Week 2, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. And week 3, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Now, Josh Allen is widely regarded as one of the best quarterbacks in the league based on his size, his legs, his strength, his arm. And honestly, when we got Baker Mayfield, for me, it was between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield in that draft. I do like what Josh Allen is doing, but he is up and down. He's not really consistent, but, that's what he did. So that was their 3 weeks versus Deshaun's 3 weeks. Once again, you can see he's right in line He's right in line with everybody who's considered an elite quarterback, and we've gone through the top 5. First 3 weeks he come back, he's right there with them. Some are a little better, some are not as good, but we see this, right? Okay, let's keep it pushing because I've showed you 2, 4, 6. Deshaun will be 7. I leave 3 more quarterbacks. Last 3, Russell Wilson, 177 and 2 touchdowns. Then week 2, 308 with 3 touchdowns and an interception. And then week 3, 306, a touchdown and interception. Only problem with Russell Williams is he's in Denver and they're losing. So, and he's older. Another thing about this list right here, 2 of these quarterbacks are older. So even if they were available, the Browns would have never been good to get them and pay them $200 million plus, just like a Kirk Cousins, for instance, because they're too old. We don't have them for that long. They're too old. So we got Aaron Rodgers and Kyle Murray, who both are out. Kyle Murray hasn't stepped foot on the field this year, and Aaron Rodgers got hurt on like the second play of the game. All right. Well, let's move on. Because as we see from here, Deshaun Watson is, by the numbers and by the eye test, because he's winning games. See, if we could have easily been 1-2 or 0-3. Instead, we were 2-1 on those 3 games. And 2 of our wins, one of our wins came against a division rival, which is good for us. Our division is the toughest division in football, AFC North. So that's good. 2 came from a loss of our wins so far. Came from losses, AFC North. But those are the top 10 $200 million plus quarterbacks in the league. And as you can see, Deshaun Watson, numbers wise, was right there with each one of them every week. He's doing exactly what they're doing, or he's on the field and they're not. All right. So you can take from that what you will. To me, he's doing his job. Then he got injured. All right. Deshaun got injured. So what did we give up to get Deshaun? Because everybody always talking about the draft picks and how much we gave up and what that means to our team and our defense. I mean, it's our team and the future and how we the front office has screwed us. Okay, so let's see just how bad they screwed us. All right, so what all do we give up for Deshaun? For Deshaun, the Browns traded a 2022 first and a fourth, a 2023 first and a third, a 2024 first and a fourth. And in return, we got Deshaun Watson and a 6th-round pick. And then we guaranteed Deshaun Watson 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed, which is really what makes a lot of people mad because this is football, not basketball. We don't give guaranteed contracts. Well, I got to tell you, I was not mad when the Browns did this because to me, it felt like for the first time in a long time in our organization, in the Browns franchise, we showed commitment actually to a plan. I believe that by doing the guaranteed money, doing something that nobody else was doing, the Browns recognized that the franchise itself is not great at choosing a great quarterback at the position. So the draft picks really, based on the team we had already built, the draft picks really weren't going to be beneficial for us anyway moving forward at the pace we're trying to get things back going. Because truthfully, the way that our team was constructed already, we seen with Baker Mayfield, we had a good team built, solid team. We were never going to get another first 10 pick anyway. It was slim chances. The rest of these picks they first round, but they're not the first pick. And most of them weren't even in the first 10 because what have those picks turned into for the Houston Texans? Since then, the Houston Texans draft picks, the first one was actually 13th, but they traded down to get the 15th overall pick. They picked up John Mechie, a wide receiver from Alabama. He was drafted in 2022, and these are career stats. He has 6 receptions and 72 yards, no touchdowns. Okay? He's not even a starter. He's like a 5th string receiver. All right? And this year, in 2023, with those picks, they actually traded a bunch of them to Arizona, which is how they got the 3rd overall pick, and they selected Will Anderson, an edge out of Alabama, who gave them this year so far has given them 24 tackles and 1 sack. I mean, that's okay, but that's not really what a 3rd pick. That's not what you want to see, but this is his first year, his first couple games. Some people are slow starters. And then we got Nathaniel Dell, wide receiver out of Houston, who they picked up. He's a nice pick. He's actually the 3rd receiver on the depth chart. 19 receptions, 324 yards, and 2 touchdowns is what he has on the season. Once again, he's not their number 1, but he is. At least they have 2 starters out of that. But honestly, Those two starters will probably not be on the team in about 3 or 4 years, the way the league is. Maybe Anderson will, but they'll probably not. I mean, it just depends. But the receivers are a dime a dozen, and they're not producing the kind of numbers unless they're gonna keep their pay down. That they'll probably keep around, especially with C.J. Stroud and the way he's picking up. Now people are still looking at, but we gave up $230 million doing guaranteed it. Well, that goes back to what we talked about before, right? The Browns paid him $230 million fully guaranteed. However, the going rate for quarterbacks, like I just said, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are like two of the top highest paid right now, and they're making well above $250 million, right? By the time year 5 comes around, or year 4 for Deshaun Watson, $230 million is probably going to be guaranteed money anyway for a quarterback. See, we just kind of jumped the curve. Like for a quarterback coming out, their contracts are going to be $350 million. Now, some of that will be incentive based, but they're going to be getting about $230 million in a couple years anyway as guaranteed money. Because in the contracts today, they have guaranteed money of around $200 million. So the Browns really didn't lose any money. We just said, okay, we'll just go ahead and say we'll give it to you. We don't have to worry about it. All right. And so a lot of Browns players say, but wait, still, we're not supposed to do that. Why? Because nobody else did. We got to wait for somebody else to do something first before we can say, okay, we can do that. No, if something is not working, you have to try something different. And how long did we draft quarterbacks in every other position using draft picks thinking they were going to save our franchise? The reason that none of it worked is because you have to have a strong regime. All right. And so for us as Browns fans, what we have to realize is that we did not have a strong team. Yeah, I'm taking these down. We did not have a strong team, until 2020, right? So the Browns since 2020 are now a winning franchise. The Browns since 2020 now have a front office who actually has a plan and knows what they're doing. Now, whether everybody's going to agree with it or not, that's kind of what it is. Everybody doesn't always agree with everything you do. However, the results, the Browns, we have not been a winning franchise ever since we came back into the league in 1999 or 2000 or something like that. We've been a losing franchise, a doormat for over 20 years. We went 0-16. We thought only Detroit could be that bad. No, we went 0-16, right? Everything that we had ever worked for in a Browns jersey, in a Browns uniform, as a Browns legacy, went out the door when our team went 0-16. We've had, 30 quarterbacks. We've had like 12 or 15 head coaches. We've changed every 3 years. Now, a lot of that is based on ownership. And for a while, until we got Jimmy Haslam, we had an owner who could care less about the Cleveland Browns. They weren't anything or anybody he cared about, right? So now we have an owner who does care. And he's trying things because he wants us to win. He wants to have at the end of the day, he wants to make the team profitable. He wants to make some money. You can't keep putting a losing and a bad product out there. So you have to get a good team. Did he take a chance with Watson, especially with the PR? Yes. With the reputation of Watson out here in the PR, he took a huge chance to get Deshaun Watson and hope that Deshaun Watson can come back, especially with a Cleveland fan base so thirsty and so hungry for a win that any loss is the end of the season, right? Deshaun Watson has lost one game this year, 1-2, and we act like he's a bum. And when you compare him to other quarterbacks, top 10, and for the money, he's right there with him. He just got hurt, all right? Which is why they're trying to rush him back onto the field, which I'm glad that they're not. But that was the pressure from the fans to rush him back on the field. We don't have to rush him. We got him for 5 years, not 5 games, all right? So since 2020, we have Deshaun Watson, who is 28 years old. Right now, he's the 9th highest paid quarterback in the league. By the time his contract comes up in the 4th year, he'll probably be the 20th highest paid quarterback in the league, if that. Right now, the Browns, with Deshaun, has a winning record. Deshaun, as a Browns quarterback, has a winning record. That's something that Browns quarterbacks can't do. Baker Mayfield was able to pull it off for a minute before he got hurt. But other than that, we haven't had a lot of Browns quarterbacks who can have a winning record. So what does that do? Our team is currently 6th in the AFC conference. Right now, we are 6th. Now, a lot of that does go to the defense, and defense is great. I give it all the props in the world. It's been saving us, but that's what it's supposed to do. That's why we don't have to rush Deshaun back, because for most teams, our defense can take care of it. And I know he get a lot of crap, but Kevin Stefanski is 31-27 as a head coach. The one win come from being a playoff win. Kevin Stefanski in the last 2 weeks has shown you he knows how to call a game. I know we sit on the couch and we watch the game and we don't like what we see sometimes, and it's not like we would do it if we was playing Madden, but he's actually real time there in the game making decisions that lead to wins. You got to get credit for that. That's his job. He's an offensive head coach. Go look at my Dogs and Vacuums. Once again, that's on my page, EP Greatness YouTube and EP Greatness on Facebook. You can look up Dogs and Vacuums. I'll speak on that about Kevin Stefanski. Adam Berry as a GM, as a general manager. For all the mistakes and horrible moves he's made and how bad this Cleveland Browns team is. For next year, we are $35 million under the cap. $35 million. We are like one of the top teams for cap space for next year, so that we can go out and get that receiver or any other pieces that we may need, because the truth is we're not going to have a lot of high draft picks to pick those players. We're going to have to pick our spots and get steals of the drafts like we did with DeJuan Jones, right? Adam Berry, excuse me. Oh, wait. It is Andrew Berry. Oh, crap. All right. But anyway, Andrew Berry. We're going to need to get him. Made a mistake and put Adam Berry there. But Andrew Berry, we're going to need to go and get him. So, he has gone out to get us multiple Pro Bowl draft picks. And since we started with him and he became part of our player personnel in 2016, that's when the Myles Garretts and the Denzel Wards and the Nick Chubb started popping up. This is where those draft picks are coming from. It's been AB all this time. AB has been helping us since 2016 when he first was with the team actually get some Pro Bowl picks so that we wouldn't need a lot of draft capital moving forward, because you only want to draft for so long before then you're building and trying to make your winning team, which the crafty Barry has done by going back around. And people say, well, why would he get rid of Josh Dobbs? Why would we get rid of Josh Dobbs? And it was kind of like, why would we get rid of that kind of backup and send him out to Arizona? Because he went and got back one of those draft picks that he traded for Deshaun Watson. See, Houston traded some of those draft picks to Arizona in order to get the 3rd round pick for 2023. Barry, being a crafty GM, went back around because he pays attention to what's going on in the league, went back around and seeing that Arizona was in a place where they would need a quality quarterback to help them a little bit, worked out a trade with them so that we could get one of those picks back that we gave up for Deshaun Watson. That's pretty crafty. In 2024. Now, we are not going to have really high draft picks in 2024, more than likely as long as our plan goes out, but we did get a pick back from the very team that we gave it to. And that's what GMs do. Good GMs know that pick is more like putting a worm on a hook and you throw it out to fish and then you just wait for something to come in. Draft picks, they can be players if they're high picks or if it's a good draft. But more times than not, draft picks don't work out. So what you do is you use the potential of those draft picks to lower, and this is the thing, only bad teams care about draft picks. Good teams and great teams don't really value draft picks as much because their draft picks don't have as much value. So when you're in a position where you can start making moves to go forward instead of trying to stay out of the tunnel, stay out of the hole, you know what I'm saying? Now you're in a position where you're standing, you can make moves to go forward and start running and taking leaps. See, now we're an organization that walks. We were crawling. We were sunken in a hole. We dug out the hole and started crawling. Now we're at a position where we can actually stand up and walk. We don't get beat up anymore on the field. We go out there and we put it off. We have so many hurt players and they still talk about San Fran, or we got lucky against the Colts. Excuse me. We down almost a whole first string on offense. Okay. Down a whole first string on offense between linemen, running backs, quarterback, right? And we still pulling off the wins. We are still taking these teams. Our defense is that strong from draft picks that we used and then free agent money that we had by our GM Barry to give Stefanski the pieces that he needed, and Schwartz, our defensive coordinator that we picked up for this year, so that now we don't have to panic or feel like we're under super pressure. Don't let the media that's local and national fool you, because the truth is they would rather us be the laughing stock of the league or not talk about us at all. That's why most of the only news you hear, even on a local front, is bad news here, because they are trying to advance their careers, and the only time we can get national attention most times as Cleveland sports, and this is all of our sports, is when something bad is happening, not when we're doing things good, because nobody wants to hear that from the Browns. So I am just put this out there so at least I know the truth is out there, and if you was looking for the truth, you will be able to see or have a place to come get the truth, so that you can see exactly what the Browns have done since 2020, since we have gotten Barry and Stefanski and Deshaun later on as our team, and what our future actually is going to look like, as you see that we are a solid team now, so we can at least stand. We can at least stand in our division. Honestly, prior to 2020, we will probably be right now 2-4 or 0-6 in our division and in the league, and no wins in our division period. And those games would have been ugly and just blowouts. All right. So anyway, we're going about 30 minutes. This is just something for y'all to take with y'all. Like I said, EP Greatness. I'm on YouTube, and I got a Facebook page out there. I'm doing podcasts really so I can bring out some truth about Browns and other different sports avenues that I see where I don't get paid by the media or sponsored by anybody, so I can tell you the truth and how I feel. And I do value everybody's opinion, because everybody got an opinion. You know what I'm saying? And, but at the end of the day, men, women, we all lie, but numbers don't. Right now, the Browns is 4-2. The Browns have been winning since we got here. We got cap space. Our draft pick situation, what everybody says is bad. When you seen what I showed you, what that actually turned to for the Houston Texans, not as much as it's turning into for us, because we don't have to worry about a quarterback. Whether you think he's talented or not, the numbers showed you that he's performing, or prior to his injury just now this year was performing just at a rate as a top-rated quarterback. So just let the season play out and let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, till the next time, I'm out.